Sonic the Hedgehog is one of, if not the most, mistreated and misused video game character of all time. Particularly in recent years, recent decades really, the character has had a slew of just god-awful, terrible games. Sure, there have been bright spots like Sonic Mania, but for every Mania, there's a Sonic Boom, a Sonic Forces, a Sonic 06, etc. Just awful stuff. But the character remains iconic. There are tiers, in my opinion, of video game icons. You know how people make those tier lists, mostly for troll reasons? You got like your C tier, your B tier, your A tier, your S tier. For me, Sonic as a video game icon is up there at the very peak, the tippy top. Above S tier, I'd say. For me, he belongs to a particularly extremely elite category that I call characters my mom can name. If you make it into the characters my mom can name category, then you have to be pretty much cemented in history, because if my mom can name you out of a lineup, then anyone can. So that's what makes the mistreatment of Sonic just so sad in my opinion, because he is such a legendary character. But it looks like things are about to change in this year. In 2022, we are getting so much major Sonic content that I'd say this is the biggest year for the character potentially ever. And yes, I'm including back in the 90s. And if a lot of this stuff ends up being good, being successful, then the moon's the limit for this character. So this year of Sonic has actually already kicked off a little bit. I don't know if you guys have heard of a little toy line called Legos. They're these little colored bricks that you connect together to build stuff. Sonic kicked off 2022 by getting his very own Lego set through the Lego Ideas program, I believe it's called. I'm going to talk about this more in a little bit, but whenever a character can get physical merch out there, that in itself is a big win. Now, of course, moving on to the real big things, we've got the Sonic movie coming out this year. One of the most anticipated theatrical releases of 2022, in my opinion. And crazy thing is, I'm not even joking about that. The first Sonic movie was the last film I saw in an actual theater. Yeah, I was there, alone, on Valentine's Day, watching the Blue Blur make his big screen debut. And like many of you, I'm sure, I was very surprised by how good I thought that movie was. A lot of great performances, especially from Jim Carrey. He killed it as Robotnik, in my opinion. You got pretty much everyone coming back for the sequel. On top of that, you're going to be adding Tails, as well as Knuckles being played by Idris Elba, which is so wild. The Sonic Cinematic Universe is getting some serious star power, and that's not a phrase I thought I'd ever say. But despite just being excited to see this big film, see how it performs, there's another reason I'm going to be paying extremely close attention to it, because we are going back to the 90s in 2022. The battle between two of gaming's greatest titans moves past gaming, because Mario also has his new film releasing this year, also featuring an all-star lineup. I may need to see a trailer before deciding how good or bad I think that is. This Chris Pratt thing, I'm not sold on it at all. I've talked about that in the past. But I am prepared to be surprised if he does a good job, I'll say it. But some of those still, I don't even see how it's a chance. You know, the Seth Rogen Donkey Kong. All I can say is I pray DK doesn't have a lot of screen time. That's like my only option. But you best believe people, myself included, will be watching how both of these films perform and be comparing them. Their reviews, box office take, the whole deal. I mean, how could you not? Two longtime rivals, again, taking their rivalry to an entirely new entertainment medium. It's awesome. And I'm not saying like one needs to win. You know, they can both be super successful and good. I hope they are. But it will certainly be something if Sonic, who's clearly not as big as he once was, he's certainly not a legit rival these days to Mario, at least in the gaming space, but he very well could be even more successful than everyone's favorite Italian plumber in the movie arena. So yeah, I'm extremely hyped just to see how all that plays out. But that's not even it for Sonic in the viewing front. Netflix is also coming out with an animated show called Sonic Prime. Now, I'm hesitant to really have any feelings about this because, you know, we just don't know much about it. I think there was some concept art that came out sometime last year, If I remember, it looked good, but it's not like that really means anything. I definitely need to at least see a trailer to get the sense of the animation style, because when we're talking about an animated series, just the style, right, can be a huge hit or miss for me. I'm sure many of you guys feel the same way as well. Like, you could honestly have the best written animated series, but if I'm turned off by the art style, I still won't watch it. But yeah, I want to get a sense of the vibe, the voices and all that as well. I'd want to at least get a taste before getting hyped up for something like this. It's also being said that they're already producing merch for this show, so that might be a little bit of an indicator that there's hope for it. I wouldn't go out of my way to actually produce, toys and stuff for something that I thought was going to flop, so maybe the people over at Netflix at least have some faith in it. And going back to what I was saying with that Lego set, it's like they got merch for this show coming up. Surely the theatrical film is going to have toys and that on the shelf. I mean, you might be walking into the toy section at your Walmart or Target this year and have like the Sonic aisle. So if Sonic can pull off this movie TV show combo in 2022, like both released, both are well received and are popular, I think that would be a huge boost to the character's already high notoriety. I mean, you're surely going to have people, kids most importantly, hitting the theater for the Sonic 2 movie, but if they also get hooked on a new TV show, you could really be building up the fan base right there. But of course, when it comes to a video game character, you want to try to fit some actual video games into your lineup. Sonic does have one coming this year as well. We got a tease of it at the Game Awards last year called Sonic Frontiers. Now, as I said, Sonic games haven't only been hit or miss over the last several years, decades even, but it's been mostly misses, especially if you want to focus in on the 3D Sonic games, which this game obviously will be. So it's hard to seriously be like, oh, well, this one will be different. I mean, Sonic fanboys have been on that copium forever and repeatedly are let down. All we've gotten so far is that brief teaser, all cinematic, no gameplay. While I thought it looked cool for a cinematic trailer, gives the sense that this will be a big, dare I say, very open game. Oh, is this going to be Sonic Breath of the Wild? I gotta do a mini rant here. How do so many people unironically refer to like every, even semi-open world game as being just like Breath of the Wild? Nintendo just dropped that Kirby and the Forgotten Land trailer yesterday, which looks fantastic, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. But you've got people in those comments being like, oh, it's like Kirby Breath of the Wild. There's that Elden Ring game coming out soon as well, basically an open world Dark Souls. Also looks great. Tons of people in those comments. Oh, so this is like Dark Souls Breath of the Wild? You remember Breath of the Wild, right? The game that invented open world games in 2017? Anyway, Sonic Frontiers. If you follow my channel, you know I always say that cinematics do pretty much nothing for me when it comes to game trailers. I want to see what the game is actually going to play like. You can't even really get much sense of what it's going to look like from a cinematic. Stylistically, probably it'll be similar to the trailer, but there's typically a big difference between cinematics and the actual in-game look. But there was a bit of news that came out during a recent investor meeting that I thought sounded a bit more promising. It was said that this game was originally supposed to come out last year in 2021, but was held back due to them wanting to, quote, brush up on the quality. A couple of things about that. Obviously, it's nice to see a game not get rushed out. But 2021 was the big 30th anniversary for Sonic, as they also mentioned in that investors meeting. So surely there was pressure for them to get the game out the door, to make it for the 30th anniversary. Also, the way this was worded makes it sound like the game potentially could have been released last year, as they specifically say they wanted more time to improve the quality. So maybe they had a janky mess that they could have shoved out the door, but instead they chose to give it another year to polish it up. With how good of a decision I think that was for the recent Halo Infinite, I'm at least a little bit more hopeful hearing that they want to take the time to try and get this right. It could still be terrible, but yeah, I just feel like that's a good sign. And like I said, when we're talking about a video game character, this is the key. You need good games. I'd love to see Sonic hit his stride again and return to being a serious top franchise rather than a meme factory. But if they're able to get this game right, as well as nail it with the other things I mentioned, the new movie, which The movie is the thing I have the most faith in because the first one I thought was good. You got a lot of the same people working on this one. I think it'll do well. The Netflix series also, you're going to be getting Sonic toys and merch on the shelves from both of those things. People are going to be buying that stuff up if they're good. And then you hit them with a legit AAA Sonic game at the end of the year. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's not just the sky's the limit, the moon's the limit. That's about as good of a year as anyone can ask for any franchise. I'm not saying Sonic is going to go back to being a legit competitor to Mario overnight or anything like that, but man, this year, again, if all this stuff goes well, he'll be on that path at least, I think. Especially if he also manages to beat Mario at the box office. Like, holy shit. I mean, come on, Sonic. You can't lose to Seth Rogen Donkey Kong, please. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on this monster upcoming year of Sonic in the comments. What are you hyped for the most out of all the media that's going to be coming out? What do you have the most faith in? Do you think Sonic Frontiers is going to be the Sonic game people have been waiting many years for? And do you think this all has the potential to elevate Sonic, or at least start to elevate him back to the levels he was once at? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.